This is a presentation poster on Wormian bones, a review presented at the British Association of Clinical Anatomists summer scientific meeting held at the University of Swansea in 2012. Introduction. Wormian bones are intra-sutural skull bones that were first described by Olaus Worm in a letter to Thomas Bartholin in 1588. More than a century has passed since the emerging works on Wormian bones were last reviewed. Here is what looked like the original letter, the content of it. Is a transcript, and here is a picture of Olaus Worm. 2. Morphology. Macroscopically, these are intra-sutural bones, as demonstrated here. Initially, they've been studied on plain radiographs, 3D CT scans, and increasingly sonographically in utero during, for example, an anomaly scan. How common are they? Well, it sort of depends on the type of skull. Overall, 5 to 8% in cases of craniosynostosis, up to 56% if the deformity is artificial. Various studies show different things, and essentially it's inconclusive, from ranging with no difference to increasing with deformity. And some medical conditions such as osteogenesis imperfecta and congenital hydrocephalus have up to 100% incidence. So King's College London has a collection of skulls. I've examined 115 of them, and 65 of them had Wormian bones, i.e. 56%. So here is a table demonstrating number of Wormian bones ranging from 1 to 23, what the total frequency of this was, and where they were found, meaning lambdoid, suture, sagittal, which were by far the most common areas where the suture, where the bones were, and the mean diameter of the bones. So the highest frequency was of having one Wormian bone, and then essentially it would be relatively lower numbers the higher the number of Wormian bones there are, and really the number of clinically significant Wormian bones is 10 or more, where they are likely to be associated with a medical condition which trainee radiologists learn the mnemonic pork chops to recite a list of associated conditions. This obviously looks like a typo, so it would have been 1 probably. So here I demonstrated cranial index, i.e. what sort of skull shape the head is, where if the cranial index was less than 75, the skull would be described as doliocephalic, meaning longer than it is wide. If the cranial index is 75 to 83, then it's mesocephalic, that's supposedly meaning normal, and brachycephalic if it was a wide skull. And there was really no significant difference between the type of skull and the incidence of Wormian bones. So just to summarize with clinical applications, Wormian bones may be misdiagnosed as skull fractures. They have long been thought to be associated with central nervous system abnormalities, and one study showed gross central nervous system abnormalities in 90% of children with Wormian bones, but it would have been really with a higher number of Wormian bones, i.e. more than 10. And another study demonstrated that Wormian bones are only a marker of disease if 10 or more are present or are larger in size and in a mosaic pattern. So number 6, future considerations. The mechanism of development of Wormian bones remains to be elucidated, i.e. they seem to be related to congenital craniosynostosis, but it may be related to artificial deformity. So although experimental induction of Wormian bones has not been demonstrated, and prenatal identification of Wormian bones and clinical correlation remains to be reported in larger studies than those cited. From the references, probably the most interesting one was the first one here, which is a book on Wormian bones published in 1905, which is freely available online. And the King's College collection upload the database, so if anyone would like to do their own study on the skulls and make some further assessments.